Hello, my name is Max Kasper. I'm the principal bass of Symphony Nova Scotia, and welcome to this home edition of Symphony 101. Somebody wrote in and asked, why are all the instruments the same color? And that's an excellent question. It turns out they're sort of not, but we'll get to that in a minute. But it does lead us down a little path where we can start looking at the evolution of instruments and the materials that they're made of. Because the materials that they're made of are giving us the colors that you see. Let's start with the easiest ones. The brass section, the trumpets and the French horns, well, they look like brass, and no surprise, they're made of brass. And those instruments evolved from signaling instruments. They were used to announce the arrival of kings. They were used to launch armies into battle, or to say the hunt was on. And they had to be loud. It turns out that metal is a really great amplifier of vibrations. If a trumpet was made of wood, it would not be very loud at all. It would be quite soft. So we use metal to make things louder. Brass is also a fairly soft metal, so it's easily bent into the shapes that you see on stage. Let's look at the woodwind section. There are different colors in the woodwind section, so we'll start with the black ones, the clarinets and the oboes. They're made of an African blackwood, either ebony, grenadillo, something like that. This wood is extremely dense and very heavy, and it allows for machining to better tolerances. It also means that when you blow into the instrument, you're blowing warm, moist, hot air. And if you're playing in a dry environment, the difference between the inside and the outside of the instrument may cause the instrument to crack. Ebony, being so dense, stops this from happening. The flutes are made of silver, as you might see, but they used to be made of wood. And in fact, if you watch the Jimmy Stewart, Doris Day version of Alfred Hitchcock's film, The Man Who Knew Too Much, the climax of that film takes place at an orchestral concert. And you could see the London Symphony Orchestra right there, and the flutes are playing, and they're ebony. But you'll also notice that there are two flutes playing each part. They're doubling up. And that's because, as we mentioned before, wood is not as loud as metal. The bassoons are not made of ebony. Ebony is very dense and very heavy and very expensive. So it would be completely impractical to have a bassoon made of ebony. It would just be too heavy and too expensive. The bassoons are made of lighter woods like boxwood or maple. And now we come to the string family. The strings are made of wood, of course, the boxes. There's spruce on the top and maple for the back and the sides. And long ago, somebody thought that if I varnish this wood, it will protect it, and it will last longer, and it will look better, and people will buy it because it's shiny. And being humans, we like shiny things. So you'll see two types of varnish. There are sort of red browns and yellow browns or golden browns. And generally, you'll see in the orchestra one or two violins that are really quite red, one or two that are very blonde, but the most part somewhere in the middle. And sometimes it's a mix of both red brown and golden brown. You'll also see, if you look close enough, wear patterns in the varnish. And that's just from people's hands being in the same place, same time, year after year, for 100 years, 50 years. You wear away the varnish and it becomes a little bit lighter. So if you look closely at some of the violins, they have very, very distinctive patches that are worn down on the varnish. That ends our little talk on all the colors of the orchestra.